time. How about that?
There you go.
Yes.
Cool. Right on. So this is a finished report that's really not complete, but it kind of is complete enough to give you sort of a sample of
Mm.
what I'm thinking of as far as the look of the report and what we were trying to achieve. So obviously there's a boilerplate that's commercial. This is really easy for every inspector to customize. Um, I kind of thought it was important to still have a summary page similar to residential where you sort your findings by urgency. So, what I was using was summary items. And you'll notice that when I show this template, my idea was that with things like repairs, I'm really going to try to avoid the whole like narrative report thing and really get down to brass tacks. But the summary items was my idea was it would be a way that, the client could quickly get a glimpse of like all the major systems and kind of see how they're doing. And if you like, you don't have to do this. Like you could just not use this modifier and not fill it in. But in the template, there's an opportunity to use a sort of paragraph narrative style overview of all the major systems so that the client, the first thing they could see is just like, hey, how did the inspection went? What's going on with the grounds? What's going on with the roofing system? And it could be narrative and photo driven to give you sort of an overview. Then the next thing you get would be the sort of major concern, repair, maintenance stuff. And this is very similar to how I do it in my residential. Obviously, it's ScribeWare, so these modifiers could all be changed per template or per owner. You don't have to call them major concerns, you can call them something else. But that was kind of going to be the next level. So now we've got a report where we're summarizing, pretty well all the findings per severity. At the base of this, if we scroll down, and you can put these in different places, but here's our ta-da, nice job, Tim, tables and findings.
Mm.
So I've never done one before, and this is not a great one, so don't take this with a grain of salt. But I did a capital reserve study where I kind of estimated year of replacement for all these different systems. So parking and grounds, roof covering, cladding, exterior stairs, HVAC equipment, and I put in a replacement cost and a replacement year. Tim has added a sum, but it looks like the sum is a little bit off, Tim. So we'll have to.
I never published it when we were looking at
Oh, is that
it.
right? Okay.
The
Yeah, yeah.
update just came through though, so I can go in and publish it and you can refresh in just a second.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Let
Um,
me know when you've done it, and then I'll just hit me up and I'll refresh. We've also got, so we've got the ability to do, cost to cure or capital reserve type studies within the tables. We also have the ability to do, a catalog of systems, right? So you could be like, okay, how many different heat pumps or heating systems are there? And so we've got train and heat pump, and it's electric and 5 tons and 2024. Tim actually just added, it's cool for you to see the old one. I didn't like how, like, I would like to see this where I could sort the condition of them. So it would be like, all the newer ones would be at the top and the older ones at the bottom kind of thing. And when I refresh, you'll see that he actually created an ability where you can choose one of these columns and sort the tables into the way that you have them set up. So that's kind of cool. Um, you can also click on these. So like it looks like I didn't fill in a condition on this one, and I thought you could.
uh, Not on the
Oh,
key
is
is
that on the
supposed
back
to.
end?
The back end you can. Yeah,
Okay,
on
yeah.
ScribeWare you can. I don't. The key is supposed to have a link, but you're using a different numbering system than I built it for, so I'll have to add that to the list.
Cool. So then after the idea would be that after all the, oops, I want to get to, so now you've got all the tables and stuff displayed. And then after that, we could click on the full report. And now we've got the report organized by unit. And my idea here is if I owned this building and the pet store was leaving, I could click on the pet store and be like, okay, what do I need to fix? I'm about to turn this unit. And so you've got kind of the ability, how about unit 204? And so you can fairly quickly go into each unit. I also, if you were wanting to know, what's up with the decks and the stairs, you could kind of go click on all these. So I think the full report lets the building owner, the client, be able to cruise around the report and be able to look things up based on their location, attic, crawl space, basements, and structure. And so you can kind of go see common areas as well as units. And then a really great feature is I've used observation tags, which are available all over the place. You can use these in residential too, but I'm auto-generating list per bottom. I'm auto-generating one list for a general contractor, a list for the roofer, a list for electricians, plumbers, and HVAC. Build out more of these. These are just kind of the ones that I built out. So the idea, and what's interesting about this, that compared to like a lot of residential where you have all your electrical in one place, is I could be in unit 102 and I have the water heater, I have the electric panel, I've got flooring issues. I really wanted the ability to put everything you possibly see into a unit and then use these tags so that you could be like, okay, well, what does the roofer need to know? Or electrician need to know. So these tags, I think, are both great that the client now could be like, click, and they could. The cool thing about these is they're a unique URL. So if you grab this, you could now call Sparky and be like, hey, I'm sending you a list of electrical items, and he would have all the electrical stuff all on one summary page. And I didn't do any extra work to create these. I pre-tagged all my electrical comments with this electrical tag, and because using a lot of comments in this template, it's actually pretty easy to pre-tag all of your comments, and I'll kind of show you how that works. And then, of course, you can see the PDF attached. You can always attach PDFs of like, the leasing plan in this case, or just background information and stuff.
I
So
know
that'll
I'm getting ahead of myself just a little bit, but be sure and show me how you're tagging those before.
Yeah, how we're tagging the contractors.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll go into that. I mean, what do you guys think of this? Like feedback, you can now, poke holes in it and criticize it, but that was the objective I was trying to accomplish here with starting with the finished report is like, I wanted to produce a report that like the client would find valuable and easy to access the information in various ways. So we've got kind of severity summary page, we've got a per contractor summary page, we've got a per system view, meaning like a unit or common systems. And so I think it's pretty, and we've got all the tables so you can kind of see the data in that way.
You can refresh it now. It should be updated.
Cool. Yeah, so this is pretty cool. So the system just auto summed all replacement stuff. And if anybody here does capital reserve studies, I'm open to learning more. I mean, this was my real sort of JV, just guesstimate of it, but first go at it.
Dylan, are you going to show how that table was generated?
Yeah, that'll be the next step here. Well, the
Fine.
next step, I'm going to go into the template a bit and show how the logic of the template, because you could also use your own template or build your own template. Like you definitely don't have to use ours. I kind of wanted to show ours because I've really, we really put a lot of thought into kind of what would be a good workflow where we make a good looking report quickly that's not a huge pain in the butt. And so I'd like, and we're going to make this template available. So I'm happy to have you guys throw slings and arrows at it and stuff and shoot it down. But this is kind of I thought here you can see it kind of summed up the number of electric things. I don't think I would do it with energy, but you can see some of the summing going on. And I really like it, Tim, where you can sort your HVAC by condition. So now you can see all the newer ones and the older ones and past design life. That's a really much better view than I had before. That's awesome. Cool. All right, so let's go into the back end now. And does anybody have any other questions on this or ideas of ways that it could be better or different or something? Or
If you're going to allow sorting of those columns, Dylan, it'd be helpful to have the little up down arrow next to the words so people know, how if you can click on like condition or manufacturer and sort by columns, usually a common, at least online nomenclature is a little up down arrow next to it, so you know you can click on it and it'll sort that by that column. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
so that the user could, like the
Yeah.
client?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that
Oh,
what we're
interesting.
talking about? Is that the capability we have here?
Well, the capability is we can sort it on the back end. Once it's published, it's not sortable for the
Okay.
client. Yeah,
Okay.
but
My
that would be pretty
misunderstanding.
cool. That would be a Tim thing to
Yeah,
figure out.
it could potentially do that, but then you would still have to set which one to sort it by because the PDF you obviously can't user can't do that. But yeah, if you think
Sure.
the HTML user would want to sort by column, that seems doable.
That'd be pretty
I'll
cool.
write that down, yeah.
Yeah, I mean that it's a really good idea because I don't know, you might want to see all the heat pumps or something, and it could be really cool for the end user to sort it. It's a great idea. Um, Another thing, Tim, that would be amazing is if these keys here if I could click on it and have it bring me right to that number.
Yeah, it's supposed to. I don't know why I didn't on that one.
Okay,
But
cool.
I've written that one down.
Yeah, so all these then will end up being hot links. So if I'm like, huh, what's going on with this one that's past its life, you could click on it and go see pictures of it and everything. That's great. Uh, Tim also has it set where you can set all of the fields in your table as required fields. So it could, if you miss things, it would end up flagging it for you, which is pretty cool. So, and then our real home run thing that we're thinking of at some point would be like that maybe with AI we could scan data tags and have it fill it out for us.
Oh, that would be great. That
Ooh.
would be great.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you can't really do that until you build this functionality first, right? Where like, but that I think that'll come at some point. Hard to know when, but that's something we're definitely thinking about. Tim, did what was going on with the view here? I think there's different ways you can view the tables in the comment.
Yeah, I haven't fixed the table view yet, but if you can switch it to the other one and it'll
It'll be a little better.
yeah.
Cool.
Dylan, in the table view, I didn't see any rooms. Is there a way to see which, water heater or HVAC belongs to what room?
Yeah. So I think. I thought I had location in, but yeah, you could add that table. I mean, the key would have that a little bit, but you could add another column that says location where you found it. I thought I had that in there, but I guess not.
So there will be, depending on how you have it set up, you can you can bring the chapter or the section or the modifier. There's certain things you can make into a column that just pulls that information in. So if you have a unit per chapter, you can make chapter one of the columns on there and it'll automatically bring that in, or you can make location one of your entry points and just enter the location for each one.
And
So
we'll show
just
you guys this in a minute here when we get to the back end. So let's look at the template for a minute, and then we'll keep diving a deeper dive into the table here.
Hey,
Also,
Dylan, quick question.
yeah.
On the table, are you able to add formulas?
I think right now we have some. What else? What do we have, Tim, at the moment?
we just right now it just has a sum at the bottom, but um I've got a cost to cure, with the inflation and all that stuff. I think uh th it is the goal to be able to do a full cost to cure with formulas. I don't know if we're gonna make it that open where you can input all those
Something
formulas or
today
where
is
we
going to
just
cost.
have
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and
Um
I have a full spreadsheet
mhm.
for the reserves with all the formulas and everything. I'll be happy to send it to you.
Okay. Yeah. I've got one, but I'll take a look at that and probably for cost secure, that might be just a special case where like you drop in a thing and it puts all the right cost secure stuff in there rather than having it so that you can enter all the formulas and but we'll see once I get into that display a little bit more.
And I think, feedback from you guys will be key. This will never be Excel. I mean, we don't have the budget that Microsoft has, so like that's not happening. But, I mean, I think hey, Tony's on here. Hey, Tony. But
Hey,
if Tony's like, hey, we needed to do this, then we'd look at it and see if we can kind of, I visualize adding a smattering of formula things that like get us what we need to get the job done kind of thing. Um, Cool. So I'll keep moving and keep firing off questions. So I'm not dying to get through this, but I'll keep us moving here. So the general layout of the report that I was thinking in the default template is that you'd have a master report where you could have overview stuff. So here I've got the preliminary walkthrough survey. So if you did a survey of some kind, you could add observation. Probably should be like information only or something. You could put notes and videos and things, so you have somewhere. You might do that before you ever do the inspection, but you've got a place for that. Executive overview if you wanted to write an overview statement, and you could use our summary item if you wanted to do that. And then this is where I have tables, and this is kind of how the tables get built into the system. And it's pretty cool. Tim made it so that you can control where the tables show up in the report. And so when we get into tables, we'll show that a little bit more. Then I broke things down into common systems. So my idea with this is like, I don't want to have to navigate anywhere. So I have envelope and grounds. And so now on the mobile app, you've got everything in one place to do the whole outside, really. Like you don't have to, there's not a lot of clicking here. I got the grounds, and then I've got some exterior safety things that I added after watching one of Rob's videos. Exterior for just, the whole siding system and roofing system is all in one place. So the way that I built this is in ScribeWare, we're using show next to connected field value for all of the comments. And what that means is this was sort of a workflow that Donnie Bentley pioneered a bit, but let's just do flat work in his example. It's asphalt. And if there are issues, if there's nothing wrong, I can just go here and take a bunch of pictures of it. And then if there's something wrong, I've got action items. So instead of having a library where you have, 30 different repair comments for flat work, you really just have one. And then how you can add comments to it. I'm just going to use illustrations as sort of holder pictures, but the workflow that really speaks to me for commercial is mobile taking pictures and using voice to text to caption the pictures. And I don't know, anybody here do that? I mean, you guys, you voice to
Yeah.
text?
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I like it a lot on residential, but on commercial, it's like 10 times better because commercial's always weird. I mean, it just, every time I do commercial, nothing fits into my pre-made narratives very well. So I'm visualizing a workflow where to me, I'm just taking pictures and captioning them. That's all I'm doing. And then I'm dumping them into the appropriate sort of photo bucket. So let's click on these and let's caption a few photos, but let's say the lines are missing, faded from the parking strip. So we could add that one. And then we could go to the next one, and there is a pothole near the entry sign. And we could add one more thing. Cracked and deteriorated asphalt on the whole north side. So those would be examples of things I would just speak onto the photograph. You dump your pictures in here, you put your cursor here, and you hit the magic button. So if you're new to ScribeWare, this is one of my favorite things, but we call it the photo captions to bullets. So I can I could have one picture, I could have 30 pictures, it doesn't matter. You put your cursor here and you hit that button and it makes a bulleted list of your photo captions. And so the idea is you can have a parent comment that's like, all right, here's the flat work repairs that are needed. And then you just take pictures and caption them and you dump it in, and that's how you fill out your specific findings. So just so you know, you can actually, we support a photo captions library. So let's say the lines are missing faded from the parking area. And let's say that's a caption that we're like, man, I could use that hundreds of times. So you can come up here and we could add that to the library. And now let's go ahead and delete it. And you could just start typing the word fade and it's going to retrieve that for you. So if you want, you don't even really have to speak the whole thing. You could just like, start typing in a couple of sentence, a couple of letters and be able to retrieve that. So this is kind of how I visualize doing a lot of the comments. the thing that Donnie Bentley did that's beautiful, let me see if I can find an example where I have let's go under exterior. Well, here, let's go to a whole different place. We'll go under common systems and utilities, and we could add an HVAC unit. So this is really pretty cool. This is new functionality for ScribeWare, or newish. We call these buttons, and Tim came up with this. And part of why we wanted to add buttons is, like, let's say you're up on the roof, and there's 10 heat pumps on the roof. Anybody had that happen to them? Right? I mean, it's like total commercial workflow like problem. So, okay, well, I'm on the roof. So I want to add 10 units. I can just go one, two, three, four. And you can do all this on mobile. I mean, you get the point. I won't keep going, but boom, there's you can add 10 units. If all you want to do is dump pictures into each unit, when this is open on mobile, you can just go ahead and snap pictures and they're all going to be in there. So even if you were not captioning or writing your comment, you could have your data tags there, you could have all your pictures there, which to me is a huge win. I don't know about you guys, but like my worst thing on commercial is you come home and all the pictures are jumbled together and not where they need to be. And then it's nearly impossible to sort it out, right? I mean, if you have 10 heat pumps, you have like, that means you have 30 to 50 pictures that all look the same. And like trying to make sure. So this just lets you quickly create a photo bucket for each unit. Now, this is the hybrid gunny sack workflow. See how observations and recommendations, right now, that wouldn't even print in the report because that's a little gunny sack that I built. You can click on the observations, and I've got a lot of common stuff. So the condensate trap is missing, or damaged refrigerant lines. That's on like every heat pump, right? The vent screen is missing. These little periods let you freehand something on the mobile really conveniently. Let's see. Can you help with that, Tim?
Yeah.
Thanks. So you can see here now we've got HVAC system, and then we've got the a couple things selected. The period lets you freehand something on mobile really easily. It just gives you a convenient space where you can now just type in. I always call these the dead beaver comment, but there's always stuff that you find on a building that doesn't fit into your pre-made, things, right? And so this now you can like handle like the dead beavers sitting on top of the heat pump, and I didn't expect that. So I've got recommendations. If you wanted, you don't have to use recommendations, but if you want to click on this, you could say the system looks old and unreliable. The system may require updating at any time. And these are all editable. Every person can go into these and kind of adjust them as you want. And we could call this like a recommended maintenance item now. So that would be a workflow that I was visualizing for being able to document heat pumps. And, I think it's going to be pretty fast and help you quickly organize all your photos and let you handle the common stuff with a couple of clicks and the weird stuff with, voice to text and some freehanding. Does that all make sense of like buttons and how to kind of use?
I love the buttons.
Set up a button comment with the options.
Say that again. Was that Scott? Can you say that again?
Yeah, have you shown anywhere how to set up that button with
Yeah, I
these
think I
comments?
made a video on it, but let me show you guys how. So for existing scribers, how I
Tell you
turn.
another thing that I do, Dylan, that works great on those
Uh-huh.
is when you're going through, take your pictures and then flag the item and then make a note if there's anything wrong. And that way, when you get home, it's easy to catch up.
That's brilliant, Donnie. So what Donnie is saying is you hit this little button, you grab your three pictures, you dump it in, you flag it, and whenever you flag something, it adds to the list of items to be reviewed, which you can tab through later. And you could come up here and type in, whatever you want. Like, don't forget to say that there's, you know, cat pee on it or whatever, right? And then now you've got a little note, a reminder of what to look at. And again, on mobile, this is all, you could use voice to text for all this stuff to get organized. So to answer Scott's questions, like, let's look at how I built this item. If we hit the three dots and we edit section, and you click the pen is how you edit these, each line. So we'll hit the pen, and it's right down on here, Scott, display as buttons. And this feature was a little bit of Tim brilliance, but he quickly realized the way ScribeWare typically works is like if I hit this comment, service the HVAC system, and then I click it again, like I can't keep making more of them. So this was the old way that ScribeWare worked, which can be useful. But so the buttons are the key to, now you can go like you're in a room with 10 electric panels, and it's like add, 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 and you can just keep adding panels within a common area. Everybody with me so far? Yep.
Yep, great.
Cool. And there's
Dylan,
people.
that button feature, does it just adds a comment, right? It,
All it does is add a comment, but it lets you add the same comment multiple times.
gotcha. Okay.
So the old way, if I keep clicking on like service the HVAC system, I can't keep adding more of them. Whereas if I click on this, I could hit this one 2 times and we go to the bottom and you'll have service the heating system. I just added that twice. So, the buttons just let you add these little photo buckets really well. And again, the idea of a photo bucket is really important of what we're visualizing with workflow for ScribeWare is by having gunny sacks, you don't need so many comments. And you can use these photo buckets to just kind of create one comment and handle a lot of stuff in a single comment. Which I think just is a much more concise report. I mean, that's like the common problem I find when I read a lot of commercial reports is, God, you could have like 100 individual little repair items. Reverse polarity was noted here. Reverse polarity was noted there. It's like, Jesus, let's just, try to get it all under one thing. It is sort of uh, one of the ideas that we've been trying to run with here. By the way, here this HVAC tag, I've set it that I do not want it to print in the report, but this tag is what will build that summary page. So now every single one of these will end up in an HVAC summary, so the heating guy can see every single unit in this building now in one little HTML report. Cool. So that goes over a lot of our workflows. By the way, you can also do photo captions to bullets within these. So let's just say you used, I'll go back to this real quick, but let's say you use 3 pre-made things: condensate trap missing, damaged refrigerant insulation, missing screen, and then we'll delete this weird one. But let's caption a picture. A dead beaver was found on this unit. And we'll hit save. You can put your cursor here and you can use the photo captions to bullets and add that. So it creates these hybrid workflows. And the idea is on these gunny sacks, you can build out your greatest hits of things that you find all the time. And when you run into the weird stuff, then you just caption your picture and add it that way. That makes sense, the kind of hybrid workflow within a gunny
that's a
sack.
good idea.
Yeah,
I like that for
Dylan,
multifamily. I think that would be very useful. I'm curious, what does your unit section look like?
yeah, I'm so glad you asked. I was hoping somebody would ask me that question. So
Because
cool.
I'm in the process of building mine right now.
Yeah, no, I mean,
I'm curious.
this was like the pièce de résistance. I was hoping we would get to this. So to finish common systems here, my idea is like envelope and grounds, common garages and loading docks, decks and stairs, attics, crawls, basements and structure, common utilities, meaning if I go up on the roof and there's 10 heat pumps, I'm going to go to the common heating, cooling, and ventilation, hit my button 10 times and deal with it. If I go into a basement and there's 30 water heaters, I'm going to just click add water heater, add water heater, add water heater. So all that's in the common areas. So now to answer the question, we go into a unit. And I've only built one unit at the moment, but my idea is the same section could be used for apartments or hotel rooms or whatever. But here's the kind of working draft is I tried to fit everything you would need for a unit in a single section. And part of why that's helpful, if you're new to ScribeWare, this interior unit, this thing up here is a chapter, right? So all of these line items over here are different chapters. Within a chapter, you have different sections. So here, this just says interior unit, but let's go ahead and call this unit number 205. And we could come up to this 3 dots and we could copy section and we'll come down and now this could be unit 20210, right? And you get the idea. You could keep going forever, right? We could add
Yeah.
copy section and you can do this on the mobile, on the fly, by the way, 215, right? So now you're doing that. But let's say, maybe this is
Can't you just do
first.
that with a button, Dylan, like you did before? Just have a button up there to add unit, add unit, add unit?
Well, I mean, now we're dealing with entire chapters and sections, so the button doesn't work. The button's really for a narrative comment. And so that's where both on desktop and on mobile, you would come up here and use copy section or to these three dots and hit copy chapter. And this is very similar on the mobile of how you add stuff. But where I was going with this is the reason I wanted to fit everything in one section is let's say there's 3 floors. Well, now I've got first floor units. I can come up here and hit copy chapter. And now I've got a whole other unit, and this could be like second floor units. And then this could be, my numbering is kind of off now, right? We'll call it 305, and you get it. So, you can end up building out a map of all the units fairly easily. So that's kind of why I wanted to fit everything into a section. The other big win of having everything in a single section is you don't have any navigation. I can walk into a unit and I can have everything available to me right on my mobile and I can just scroll up and down to find it. So let's just, we could do an overview statement where I could kind of say, hey, overall unit 205, needs to be burned down with a can of gas or whatever. And then we could say it's drywall and drop ceiling and the flooring is carpet. We can describe stuff. I don't know what you guys think about this. I've kind of gone around with like, do we even need to
I
describe
got a comment
things?
on that, Dylan.
Yeah, go for it, Donnie.
On my interior rooms, I have basically just built a total comment that basically say the walls, ceilings, and the flooring's all been inspected. So it's one click for that, and then you
Hmm.
photo caption and tag any pictures that with any problems and
That
done.
that's an interesting idea. So rather than using all these stupid fields, you could just say like, "Hey, I inspected the interior. Here's all the things I
I
inspected."
do. But
You
then
know,
I put the flooring and stuff down there so if there's something that's terrible, I can go down and add something terrible in. But if it's halfway decent, we just keep moving.
well, that's true. You could have one button that makes you not even bother filling out some of these. Part of
Right.
why I have them though is again, they're line items. So I think I watched Rob's exit doors, right? And so now I've got exit doors and now I got a gunny sack built. And I literally watched his video and he said all the things I should look for in exit doors in a commercial building. The door doesn't open out, it's too narrow. It's lockable door, not properly labeled,
That's
non-standard
that's
lock.
exactly how I have mine built, but I have one blanket comment. When you go into the nice unit, take you some pictures and you're done.
Yep. Well, that's right. So then if it's a pristine unit, I would still be filling this in, whereas with your method, you'd click one box, put a bunch of
One
pictures
button,
in
take
and,
some
and be
pictures and
done.
keep moving.
That's a really good idea. But I wanted to finish this thought. Let me delete this and I'll rebuild it if we go to exit doors. Like what I did is I watched one of Rob's videos on how we should be inspecting exit doors, and I built all the answers into a single comment. So I don't have to really there's not a different comments to find. Like all the knowledge is just sitting there, and I can just choose on the things that apply. And this is what's kind of great about gunny sacks, And to Donnie's point, if you're in a hurry and you find these things, you could dump your pictures in, and you can go ahead and flag it and make a little note, exit sign's wrong or whatever, and you could click on those later if you wanted to. But I think I felt these were. I don't know how you guys feel, but I'm not very good at commercial. I've only, I do 3 a year at the most or something. And so this was really cool for me to build it in, be like, what should I look for exit doors? You know,
Dylan,
uh, yeah,
is it showing up on red on the left because that's where you're working in the report?
correct. Yeah. So that just tells you, well, it tells you where you've touched. So like if a unit is black, it means I haven't even been there or a section. Once it turns red, it tells you that you've been there. And I can manually, if I were done with this unit, for example, I could turn it green manually, and then that would say that visually to me, green is go. So green means you're done with it. You know, that makes
Is
sense,
there any
Hank?
way, is there any way in the future we could have that turn green when all required items have been answered?
Yes, if you're willing to take responsibility for inspectors missing things or wanting to go back and changing it. You know, I say that like I totally get it, Tom, but like it scares me that like automating saying something's done freaks me out because like I never know when some whereas if we make it manual, it's like you're still steering that ship, you know? But it's a super good question, and it gets it kind of a segue to AI, which is something we'll be working on a lot coming up. And there's we're trying to devise ways to use these tools and protect everybody, if you know what I mean, like not get ourselves into hot water. I mean, I love automation, but automation's scary too. Like it's how you can freaking back yourself into a corner and say things you didn't mean to say. So anyway, I didn't mean to be flip about it, Tom, but you see what I was driving at there?
Yep.
Cool. So anyway, that's so then we could keep going on this branch wiring. We could say we tested stuff and then receptacle repairs needed, lighting repairs needed, branch wiring repairs. So I divided up my electrical into a few different things. But I don't know if you wanted, you could have one of these that just says electrical repairs needed, like maybe I have too much and it should just be more simple. Um, Glazing. I mean, you kind of get the point. And then all down here, the reason I built buttons for all of these is what if you're doing a dentist's office and there's 16 sinks in the unit? Well, now I can just click sink and take a picture of it, you know? Uh, and if there's a problem with the waste pipe, I could click it and turn it into a repair item. So these buttons are really, I turned them into buttons because it felt like within a unit you could have multiple restrooms or bathrooms or water heaters, or there could be 3 sump pumps. I don't know, right? I mean, commercial is weird. So anyway, I tried to build all these into buttons so that you could, all right, there's four electric panels. Boom, 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 boom. Now you got it. Tim, can you?
Yep,
Thanks, man.
got it.
Does that make sense? Can I get feedback on the idea of just one big long unit? Everybody like this idea? And you can see the tags, right? So everything's getting tagged per, here's a plumbing tag and it'd be another plumbing tag. So we're, again, even though everything's in one unit, we're still generating a list for the electrician, a list for the plumber. I think I have general contractor stuff if there were like painting needed. I have a general contractor tag.
I have a question in the summary. The way you're building that, um, you've got a water heater that's bad, and you're using the buttons, and you change the modifier to, defective or repair, whatever you want to put on it. And I've got 5 in a 30 unit apartment complex that are bad. How are they going to define which one they are other than the caption?
I love
Because in
that.
the summary,
Yeah, that's a
it
great
kind of
question.
slings that one off on you if you're not careful.
So let's go ahead and preview this and let's look. So we're in unit 205.
Right.
So if we hit preview and we go under repairs, here's our
There at the bottom. Right there.
I don't see it.
That's what I run into. You got to be careful because where it places it.
Yeah, I thought because that was it was waste piping. No, there it is, water heater. So
It
it
was at
should
the
be
bottom
shown.
of your list. It was
It was
just,
the
it just
bottom repair item.
doesn't have anything in it. So it was a small one.
Oh, it just said water heater probably.
Yeah.
Right, but it
Yeah,
tells
so
you
here
it's
it
in.
is. Sorry, I just overlooked it. So it says first floor units, unit number 205. So it's kind of got the location built in.
Yeah, but
Donnie.
what I'm saying is, if when you do the buttons, one of the things I'm running into is it'll have one water heater here, then it'll have 7 other items, and then it'll have the other water heater instead of bunching them together.
Oh, interesting.
And it may be
So it
something I'm
sorts by
doing.
the unit, sorts all the items by the unit.
But that's what you would like to do in your table, right? That was my question about
But
it.
when you go into the summary report, then the summary sometimes puts them in different places. Like I said, it may be something I'm doing.
Yeah, maybe you
Because
could
you've
make a
only,
video and send that to us, Donnie, so we
I
could have a
will. Well,
look.
like I said, you've only got one right here, so you don't have 10 units it's already built out for it to move stuff around on you.
Yeah, that it is interesting. Well, let's go look at this summary because this has a lot of different things. So let's go down here. So unit 102, unit 200. I think it's still grouping them per unit, like the sequence of the units, you know? See how all
Yeah.
my unit, here's unit
Yeah.
202 and then
But see,
here's
then you
unit
got
20.
204, 204, pet store, pet store. Like I said, it may be something I've got done. I'll work on that a little
Yeah,
bit.
check it
Because
out
I built mine out very similar, not as advanced as yours, but
yep.
They should
So
come in the order they are in the report. And so if there's comments in between two different ones, then those should come apart. But you also, actually, that wouldn't apply. Yeah, it should be the report order, but if it's not, that'd be interesting to look at.
yeah, it's good to look at, Donnie. So keep us posted on that.
yeah.
So
When are
let
you
me
going to
show you
have
guys.
this? When are you going to have this template available for us?
Well, we'll get to that, but I think Tim can now load this for people. If you guys want to play with this, like Tim could load this template for you.
I would love it because, like I
Yes,
said, I stopped
absolutely.
Yes,
working on
please.
mine, waiting on yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing we've been waiting for that's pretty complicated is to me for this template to be really functional, you need these observation tags, the plumbing things, and then of course you want the tables. We haven't even shown you building the tables yet.
But
We're just
that's what
getting
I'm
warmed
waiting
up.
on.
Yeah, so let's show you building tables, but if there's people that want this, we'll get to that at the end of the call here so that we could maybe load a few of these. So let's let's click on this. See how there's this little table tags up
Yeah.
here now. So I can click on this and let's add a water heater. And so I've got the manufacturer's American, it's electric. It's an electric tank. It's from 2008. It's old, and you could put in a water temperature if you wanted to. Again, all of these are editable. I'll show you how you edit these, but this is kind of building out these tags. This is all available and doable on mobile, so you can just fill these out as you go. So I'll show you another one, like we could go to heating equipment. We'll do electric panels as another one. We could click on this, and I've got electric panels, service equipment. So maybe it's a Cutler hammer. It's in the utility room. It's 200 amps, and it's 12208, and it's in satisfactory condition. So again, all these columns can be edited. So let's click on this, and I'll show you how. If you wanted to edit one, you can click on the pen, and this brings you to kind of the editing page for the tables. And we could go down to,
And it looks a lot different from this in the version that just came out. And like this had all kinds of bugs in it. But all the same functionality is there, but I've fixed a lot of this.
nice, Tim. Yeah, so here's like within I called this group electric service equipment. I wanted to attach it to the report and build a table. And I wanted the ability to save it with my library entry. Tim built in these little question marks, so hopefully you can kind of, we're trying to make this as like walk you through it as much as possible. You can, if you want to add a new, can you guys, I have panel manufacturer, location, amperage, voltage, condition. Anybody want to add something to electric panels? I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
But anyway, if we wanted to, you could add something here and we could call it
Neutral wiring, we have a lot of problems on that.
neutral wire. And so I've always checked these two, Tim. I might have let Tim walk you through a little bit of this, but let me just finish what I can show you. Neutral wire like present, and then we could add another one, none found. And we could add another one on fire. And we could have another one loose, something like that. So now if we go back to electrical, I think they'll show up here. We might have to delete it and rebuild it, but we'll close and I think it'll show up on so quickly, Tim.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is, neutral wire. So we just added a new one. So it's pretty easy. Like we really wanted to ship with these because we thought then the functionality would be pretty good out of the box. But of course, our expectation is that everybody will want to do it differently. So you know,
It would be
uh,
good for residential too.
well, I'm glad you said that. Like, it's funny. I just asked Tim. I was like, "How do I get this attached to my residential?" Because now if I want to get rid of this one, so you can hit the trash can and delete it, and now it's gone. But I was going to make one for residential for what I always call disposable systems. So like water heaters, HVAC, and roof would be the most obvious ones. I mean, in theory, you could add like kitchens and bathrooms and like interior finishes. Like give them like a, you know, newly updated. You know, good condition, getting older, old, something like that.
And for the
Uh,
clients, it's easy to see in a table format.
it is, right? You'd have this little glance of all the disposable systems and what condition they're in. It makes me, I don't know. I'd love it if people want to run with that. I mean, I can't wait to see what everybody does with this. Like, there's so much functionality here. It's kind of crazy. In general, where you set up tags, like I showed you how to get into them. Like you can click on how you guys could do it if we ship with a template is you could click on this and you can add a tag, and then if you want to edit it, you come up here and you click on that. You'll be able to edit all the tags. There's also some places you can edit that there's not within a template. So if you go under settings at the bottom left, and these are under the smart tags area. And so this is that list where you can go edit things. And then I'll show you how you place them in the report. Before I do that, does anybody have feedback on the idea of everything in one unit? Do you guys kind of like that workflow?
No,
Does
I
that?
like that very much. Yeah.
I use it
I
for
like it a lot.
medical office buildings.
Yeah, great.
That's
Yeah.
I
how
mean,
I have it
It
for
For
works out well.
multifamily, that's a good flow.
that's my thought too. Is like I don't want to have to navigate. I mean, on mobile, it's incredible. It's all just sitting there. I don't have to go anywhere. Like click, 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 and you just get through it. And by not having, how about feedback on? Do you like the idea of these sort of gunny sack comments, where instead of having a million narratives, we're just dumping it all into like a handful of comments?
I yeah, love especially on commercial.
Yeah, I love it. I'm going to
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
on residential too. Yeah.
Love
Well,
it.
when you had you mentioned earlier, Dylan, you had the general comment, and then the specifics with the dumping the photo dumps.
Yep. Well, that's kind of
That hybrid that works real well.
awesome. Yeah, and that's kind of why I made those overview statements, is I felt like if you feel like you need to have a more narrative approach, you can do it with these overview statements and say, overall, there's 30 electrical panels here and they're in pretty great shape or whatever. But then, your repairs can be short and sweet and all built into little gunny sack kind of things. So that was
You may want to ask the client what they want. I mean, they may want a specific format too. So
They don't.
Yeah, but most commercial clients, they don't want the fluff. They just want to know what's going on there and be done with it.
I think most residential clients don't want the fluff either. I think we give them sometimes a lot too much, much more than they can handle. I look at some of these long reports, especially the ones I used to write with different comments, and the gunny sacking and the parent comment, whatever you want to call it, that's the way to go.
It's cool you say that, Tom. I find myself now constantly, whenever I find a big long comment, I find that I can cut it down to a short comment and then actually build a little gunny sack with all the little stuff that I might want to say. And then I can either not say it or I can say it,
Right.
and I
It's
just
an
have to.
ongoing, I'm building them as I go.
That's awesome. I love that, Tom.
Taking your lead on a lot of this. I find that the systems, I think I've heard you say it before, so I'll just paraphrase what you say. But the systems that are in front of you, like the deck is all in one spot, the water heater, the panel, it's often easy to write those comments out. Things like the walls and things like receptacles, I just speak them into my phone, the voice to text, and then push that little button with used to have the mountains on it. Now it's got the three lines. Yeah. And it makes it look like I wrote that whole thing and nobody's the wiser. Nobody's the wiser. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's so great, Tom. I'm glad you're running with that, man. I just think it's such a great workflow.
Yes, sir.
Cool. Okay, so we got units, and then in theory, this could be, customized. This unit number thing could be repurposed for hotel rooms, or like if I were doing a hotel room, I would probably, you'd get rid of stairs, you could get rid of water heaters, and you could kind of, before you copy the section, you'd start a new report and you'd come in and you'd edit the section, and you would come in here and be like, okay, I don't need water heaters in a hotel room. I might need plumbing, so I'll leave it. But even then, I could put it under bathrooms. So let's just get rid of plumbing. And there's no break room. Well, there could be a little kitchenette thing. There's not going to be a laundry. Probably not a panel. There is cooling equipment. There could be a deck. There's not a fireplace or whatever, once but you could go all those and then just delete them all. And now you have got a template that's suited for that hotel. I don't, well, I could do it because I'm not going to hit save template. So now we could hit delete, and now you've got a much smaller one. So I was trying to build more than you might need into this, so that my idea is you'd start a new report and you'd open it up and just try to like cull it down and shrink it up and get rid of whatever you don't need for that particular job. And then you'll have a bit more of a concise template, because there's a lot in here at the moment, but that's intentional. Like I wanted to try to provide a template that would have everything you'd need in it. Yeah, Donnie.
I was going to say the way that I built mine is I've pretty much, when you walk in the door to the unit, anything that would be inside is all in the unit section. Everything else is separate. That way, because like I said, most of what we do is multifamily. You've got your exterior, you got one roof in a building, and you got your foundation crawl space. Any stairs or anything we put on the outside, but when I walk in the door, like I said, where you've got the windows and stuff, we just take care of that on the outside. And where you've got the stairs and all that stuff, we
Yep.
take care of that outside of this box.
Yep. And that would make sense for like apartments and hotels. Like partly I have this. What if you're doing like a giant warehouse and there's like stairs in there or something, I mean, so I
But that would
trying
be
to,
in a different section.
yeah, you could do it. You could do that in the common areas, so under my common areas, I have, I think I have stairs. Oh no, I know what I was going to do. When I'm done with this unit, I'll bring that into common areas, because my thought is that everything you use in a unit could also be called common areas in the building, right? For the hallways and like all that stuff. So again, you could use that same thing. So the big workflow here would be, if you want to use this template, that, the whole idea is that you can copy sections, and you can come up to the very top, and you can copy chapters, and that way you've got the ability to kind of mold this this template for whatever you want. And before you start copying everything, I'd go ahead and open up those areas and delete whatever you think you don't need, just to that'll help minimize it when you're on mobile and when you're on site, I think.
Now, Dylan, the only one thing I'll say is sometimes when what if you don't always know what you're getting into, as we all know, every day is an adventure.
Yep.
I would be cautious to delete something. You might, you know what I mean? You might
Yeah,
get there and you
yeah.
deleted stairs, and by God, this one floor house has stairs somehow.
I know. I'm with you.
And now correct me if I'm wrong. They won't, if we left that field blank, it would not print. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct. So you
Okay.
could not
That
delete
hasn't
anything and
changed.
just leave it. Like none of, like right now, if I don't do this, none of this stuff's going to print in the report.
Right,
Right now,
okay.
nothing would print in this whole section. It's totally blank. So
So
you could, your other option is just cherry pick what you want and leave everything else blank.
honestly, I'm more inclined to do that just because I've been to enough houses and buildings, commercial buildings and such that you get surprised
Yep.
and
I'm with you.
you
Yep.
know.
And
And then
one,
when you're
Hey
done, you
Dylan,
turn it.
is there a way to sort out those things that, let's say, in your unit 215, you start with overview and then you go built-in systems? Is there a way to sort by either location or alphabetical, or so it's kind of easier to see what you're looking for?
Well, I mean, you can resequence all of this. So this is the back end, what the home inspector sees. So you could hit edit section, and if you wanted the doors first or whatever, I mean, you can kind of
Okay, got
move
it.
all this stuff around. So that would be another bit of customization is get this the way you like it, as far as the flow. I put a lot of time into this. You'll notice this is my CCPIA template 4.0. I've been through a bunch of these that I was like, nah, that sucks. That sucks. So, I think it's getting there, but yeah, I guarantee you'll find little holes in it and you'll want to rechange, change things around. So, um,
So,
does
and
that
one
answer your
thing,
question, Yuri?
Yes, it
Go.
did. Yes.
Cool. Yeah, what's that, Tim?
so Tom, the idea of having like deleting stuff, the other option is with fields in the mobile, you can compress the fields so you can minimize fields.
Oh, okay.
And you can have all of these fields start minimized, and then just expand the ones you want. So that way your stairs, buttons, and stuff like that, they're not taking up space, much space. But they're there. So that's probably the way I would go about it is just minimize all those uncommon ones so that they're just a tiny um, thing.
Yeah, I think so. That's a good happy medium between the two.
Trying to show you that. Like, see how you can. So I think what you do to save this is not intuitive. And I could actually try to get this done and ship the template like this, maybe. I don't know what you think of that, guys. But you see how they're minimized in here? Like
Yeah.
if you click on them, they kind of shrink up, which is pretty cool. I mean, this would make it. I'm shrinking up a whole unit section here so we can kind of see that.
There's one problem with on the fly. I keep mine compressed to start, but if you start adding in the field and you fill one out, and then you add another one, whatever your last one is what you get the next time.
Correct.
Does that
Like
make
so
sense?
so right now if I had it set up like this on the mobile and I hit save template on the desktop, it would remember everything completely compressed. So this
Right.
is kind of neat. I mean, look how compressed this is. This is like an entire unit that you can do, and it's like I barely need to scroll on my phone. I mean, that's amazing. But then you'd
Um,
click on flooring and you could describe it. You could say it's getting older. If you're new to ScribeWare, a great feature on the mobile is if I long press on this blue thing, it's going to serve me right into the comment. So watch this workflow. You click on it, you're in the comment, you click the camera, you take a picture, and this is where you could use voice to text, right? You could come up here and then I hit the microphone. I can't show you voice to text when I'm zooming because Zoom has control over my keyboard, but I would hit that button and it would sort of type in as I speak. And so that's the workflow that I'm visualizing. So again, you go under doors, you could say I tested them and we could hit this exit doors and open it up. The following things were noted. The doors are too narrow, non-standard locking noted. And we could hit the period key and we could type in something, the dead beaver comment that something strange is there. Could snap a picture or two, and we've done it.
Okay. And now right here's where what I was talking about. If you tell it to copy it right now, those next screen, those will be open on your next one, or they do
I
mine.
gotcha. Yeah. So now if I come up
So you,
here
you
and
need to
hit,
close them back or build them beforehand, one or the
I
other.
gotcha. So you could close them back even though they're filled out. It really ought to, it's interesting. I filled these out, and when I close them, it ought to at least show that they're orange or something, right? That you've been there. Because like from this view, I can't tell that I filled out the flooring. Tim, you making notes of this?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you have it set as a required or recommended field, then it'll change color.
Okay.
Um, that's probably about the best use for
Yeah, I
recommended
don't
fields.
have any
But
required fields set in the commercial for kind of obvious reasons. It's
yeah.
How
too.
about there's like the background, you've got a text box, the gray. You could have a progress bar showing how complete it might be.
Well, we kind of have that if you use required fields. That's a really good point, Michael. So in my residential template, when I start a job, I have 200 required fields. I'll show you guys that real quick just so you can check it out. Because I don't set required fields in commercial because it's just too hard. It's like I don't know what's going to be required. It's like the building's too freaking weird.
That's true.
Yeah, if you come up with a way to do it, let me know. But I racked my brain on that and decided to have no required fields. And really commercial is so the Wild West. You don't even really know what, I mean, there's not, I don't know, you could go through the ComSop. My very first template, I went through the CCPA ComSop, and I that was neat, but it was not a very good template. And that's not saying the ComSop's not good. It's just what I learned in doing that was that a standards of practice is not a great way. It's not like a way to design a report, right? It's a standards of practice of what you should look at. So this is my residential template, and notice here, Michael, at the top, I have 215 items that need attention. So if I click on that, this is literally my entire template. Everything that I've said, Dylan, don't be an idiot, don't forget this. It's all in one giant long screen. As I fill things out, like if I go under skylights and I say that they were insulated curb style, I could go to the next one, and the gutters were aluminum. That's kind of shrinking down this list. So, basically, now you can see now there's 213 items. I filled it in, so it's pretty cool. It's just like this list that gets shorter and shorter as you go down, and so when you're almost done, you might have like 10 items left or something.
Right.
So we have it on residential, but I haven't figured out a way to do that on commercial because it's just too hard. Um, Okay, cool. Let's see. Where was that commercial job? I wondered, do you guys want to see tables on mobile?
Yes.
Yeah, I would. Yeah.
All right. So we're in this unit. Let's go into the second floor units. We'll go into 305, and let's go down to where there's the buttons. So these are all how the buttons look on mobile, and we could go down to heating and cooling systems. So we'll enter unit and open it up, and we could snap a couple pictures of things. And we could see add smart tag, you guys. And that blue button there. So we hit add smart tag, and we'll do, I can't remember, we're in HVAC, aren't we? So we'll do, it's a carrier, it's a heat pump, it's in the utility room, it's electric, and it's 4 tons, and it's from 2020, and it's newer, and recent service records were present. And my thought there is, like, if there's nothing really wrong with it, it's just an information only comment. And then again, if you wanted to, you could make it a recommended maintenance, and you could even just come under observations. You could make observations, or you could hit next, and you could just say servicing, uh, uh, no recommendations at this time, or the system requires servicing. I have those two kind of built out at the top. Pretty cool workflow, don't you think? I mean, I think
I like it.
I think it's pretty
I'm
fast.
definitely interested in the tables for residential.
I love it, Michael. That's awesome. Yeah,
I
feel the
definitely
same.
would like to see that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's all the same functionality is all available. This will be, I mean, we can't wait. One of my favorite things about ScribeWare is we turn these things loose on scribers, and then they invent new things that we never even thought of, or new ways to use stuff. And there's a lot of functionality here between the buttons and gunny sacks and show next to connected field values. I mean, I like to think that we're creating some very innovative workflows, not by adding a feature, but by being able to layer multiple features into a template that really start, hopefully, the goal is higher quality reports done more quickly, right? That's kind of that's what we're shooting for everybody. So, but this is all brand new stuff. So, Tim and I and Steve would appreciate feedback on the template when we ship it. Feel free to let me know what works and what doesn't. And then, Tim is going to be, we're trying to get sort of mostly done with tables relatively soon, but our expectation is that there will be little tweaks going on to tables for quite some time.
Dylan, did you want me to? I don't know how much time we have, but do you want me to go over tables on desktop?
I would
So
love that if you don't
I've got the
mind.
new version pulled up.
Cool. Why don't you share then, if you don't mind? You guys want to keep going? Everybody getting tired? We got.
I'm good.
I'm very
I'm
interested.
good.
Nice. We'll keep going.
All right. Let me grab this screen. Did you
While
have
he's getting
anything
up, I
else?
do have a quick question, Dylan. Is there a way to like tag just an entire chapter like you were doing like Unit 201 and Unit 202? Is there a way just to tag those that would pull the whole chapter down?
No, that's a cool idea, Donnie. There is not. Um,
Yeah, I didn't think it would be, but
yeah, yeah. It'd be interesting if we could add that. I mean, I suppose we could add another color or something. Hmm.
where
Worth
they would go
ruminating
down into
on.
making a report for Unit 201, a report for Unit 202.
Yep.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I'll think on that one.
Yeah. No, it's a good idea,
You
Donnie. We'll
could
think
build
about it.
50 libraries and you'd have 50.
Yeah.
No,
Maybe
it's
you
an
could go
interesting
that
idea.
way if you had a relational table.
Say that again?
Potentially.
You familiar with relational tables?
Why don't you unpack that for us?
I'm not sure if I can. It's just anyone familiar with Access, Microsoft Access,
Right.
database relations?
I mean, I know of it. I don't.
It's
I'm not.
kind of it's like pivot tables on steroids. But you could definitely probably pursue that. I don't know if the system has the capabilities of doing that though.
Yeah. I mean, I would say definitely that I think what we're trying to shoot for is keeping tables as simple as we can, but make them as functional as possible.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing too. I mean, we're talking about not going too deep into the weeds here with this stuff, and that probably you'd probably surpass that.
Yeah, I mean, because tables, I mean, I don't know, like Excel's like gave the freaking book like this thick of how to use it, right? I mean, and we definitely don't want to go there. I mean, we can't afford it really. It's just like we got to keep it as light as we can. And you can see this is already a little bit complicated to get going. I think once it's set up, it's pretty darn easy to use and edit and stuff. But it's why we were pretty adamant about wanting to ship with some, at least some, some basic tables and tagging systems all built. So why don't you?
I think clients will like the table. I really do.
Cool. Yeah. So
Yeah,
Tim,
so,
what show us? This is cool. Like this is a whole new view.
yeah, so this is the view that Dylan was showing earlier. I made it so that you can you can rearrange the order of everything, but then also you come into like your HVAC table and these are all of your tags, and then these are tag details here. These are all you can copy these, so like I can click copy to clipboard, and I have this whole list is just like one line at a time. And so it's easy to set these up as well because um, you can add one and then paste the whole thing in there. So like I can go down to this here, and if I paste several lines in there, it's just going to put them all in. So you don't have to do it like box by box.
That's awesome, Tim. So if you really wanted to like
Um,
build something new, you can just grab stuff out of your template and paste it in.
Now
yeah.
this is not out, hasn't been released yet, has it?
It's in beta testing and
Okay.
it's behind a feature flag in beta testing, so the beta testers don't even have all of this on yet. It's something we have to turn on per account right now.
Okay.
It'd probably be, I would assume at least a month, probably more than a month, before it's out,
Yeah.
um, or even off of the feature flag. But it's something that if you are a beta tester, then we can turn it on. If you're not, then we would have to get you set up for beta testing, in order for you to play with this. But it's something that we could definitely do.
Yeah.
So this is smart tags, and so I've got this kind of separate. Like this is the way to add details. So you can use smart tags without even making it into a table if you wanted to. It's kind of a separate feature. We've kind of seen how that works. And then when you get into tables, if you're trying this, you have to right now you have to go to your report templates and enable tables in this report in order to get the tables to work. That way you don't have all the extra table stuff in there for ones where you don't want it. But the tables here, once you get your smart tag set up, then you would set up the table separately. So you would come in, you would say, all right, I want a table and I want it to be based off of the HVAC section. And so I'm going to create a table there. And here's all of your tags in here. You don't have to use them all. Like if you don't want to show the recent service record present, you can just delete that out of there. Or the replacement cost. If you never want that in the table, you take that out. You do have some options like if you want to show which chapter it came from, it'll pull in the chapter. And then this is where you can, add a sum at the bottom or a count or like pick which one you sort by. You can put a header and a footer on the table. This is kind of just a general preview of what the table will look like. And so you set your table up here, and there'll be more features coming to this area. And this is where you set up a cost secure and stuff like that. And so you've got your different tables, and this one, since uh we already had HVAC tags in this report. This is Dylan's practice report. So it automatically pops up. So within ScribeWare, if I wanted to say, oh, I forgot to put a location, like this one was set up where the location wasn't one of the options. So if we don't want the locations in there, we would just take that field out. But let's say we have, all right, this train unit heat pump right here, we forgot to put the condition in. We can click on that and it'll take us
Nice.
to it. I believe it's this one right here.
That's awesome, Tim.
And so we add our condition in there. Um, and then the way to get it into the report is, where did you put these tables and findings? This may not stay the way it is. It's something I was working on today, but when you come into this edit section, there's a new button here. Other than add field, you can just add a table reference, and you could say, I want to do this new table that I just made is called HVAC1. I want to do this HVAC1 table, and you put it in there, and that puts a placeholder in the report, so that if you check it and you preview the report, that table will be in there. So you don't have to, like, I could uncheck all of these and print the report and none of those tables would show up. So you got a little bit of flexibility there as well. One thing to add to the workflow. So on these, Dylan's already filled this one out. And so when he entered a unit, he just added the table to it and he added his pictures, and added this is his sample report. But what you can do, let's see, this one's giving us the wrong modifier, but what you can do with this is you can add a table to it. And so if I added the HVAC table to this comment and I can turn on and off. So these are all, like, I can minimize these just like the other fields. I kind of modeled them after the fields a little bit. And I can say, I don't want to do age. I'm going to take that off the list. I don't want to do condition. So
Nice.
You can change what shows up there and what's required. I kind of built this how I wanted fields to be. So I might go back and put some of this into the fields. But so I can take this, and if I want to describe these several things, what I would do is I would just save this table into the library. And then that way every time I enter a unit, it's going to come in with those tables in
Nice.
there.
So you don't have to add them every time. That's great.
Yeah, and so to that, like if there were certain things, like if you always, if you did a lot of heat pumps and they were, let's see, there's some things like there might be a combination where you almost always have several, or even if it's just one, like you could take this and you could make a comment that was called HVAC system heat pump and create a button up here for heat pump and have it put in a comment that has heat pump pre-filled, or like two or three of them pre-filled if there's a really common combination.
Cool.
So you could have some pre-filled ones come in. It would just have to be a different comment for that.
How did you get it to pre-fill?
So
you
if
just save it filled out, basically?
Yep, you would just save it. So if I did, I guess we would do heat pump and we would do energy source electric.
Yeah, that's a good
And then
example.
I would do edit in library here and just call this add a new library entry. And so this is a new library entry here. And I know I'm messing up your report, Dylan. But,
well, it's a live job, or it's fine. I mean, it's not my template, so.
So we can get all this out of there. But where was this? Heating and cooling systems. I wanted to add.
Enter heat pump. Yeah, and I would love your guys' feedback for a default template. I started going down a road of adding a lot more buttons like that, but it just started to be a lot of buttons, and I'm inclined shipping it, keeping it as simple as possible and letting you guys build it out however you want. You
Right.
know, it starts imposing my logic onto how it ought to be, and I'm trying to stay out of that. Or I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, is Matt Kirsch on here? Hopefully he's still on here, but he asked a question: can the tables be exported into a CSV?
We don't have that directly. When you preview the report, I think you could probably just copy and paste it into Excel. I haven't tried that. And then save it as a CSV if you needed to. That'd be something we could look into. I don't have that um,
It's a cool
set
question.
up
I
right
haven't really
now.
thought of it, but it'd be neat if we could make that doable.
Um, but yeah, so you've got that, and then you would go back to your table here, and it would show you everything you have. It'll show you what's required. If there's a required field, it should be setting it as a flag. I don't know if it's going to do it in this report because this was added later, but like this, I think that one's just flagged because Dylan had it flagged. Um, there will for some of these, if there's a required field and it's not filled out, it'll turn it red, and then it'll show up in the flag summary as well, so that you know to go back to it. Um, but that's the main overview of tables. And I tried to build it very flexible, and there's still a lot I want to put into it, but I'm just trying to get it to like the version that people can find usable, and do the majority of stuff with, and let people run with it and kind of see where people want to take it from there. But there are a lot of options with this. I've tried to keep it pretty open.
Quick question.
Questions? Sure.
I do have a question. So once you're in the smart tags, and you're working on your table, and for instance, you're talking about your water heater in the garage, is there a way that once I'm there, there is a button I can take a picture of the water heater in the garage?
Yeah, so you would do that from within the chat, within the comment. So a table is always going to be attached to a comment, or an observation. And so on mobile, when this observation is open, you would just hit the photo button, and it would put the observation, it would put the photo in the same observation as the smart tag. Is that what you're asking?
Um, yes and no. When you go to smart tag window,
From here.
yes. So for instance, you're looking manufacturer ream, and you want to specifically take out whatever a picture of that label on the water heater, just as an example. Is there a way to take a picture from here from this smart tag?
Not from this screen. You would just back out of the screen and add it to the same observation. Um,
It
one
could
of
be
the
super cool if we were ever to get the AI version of it where you just could like open up the tag, snap a picture of the data tag, and have it kind of be in there. But that could get, I don't know, you talk to him, this is your world more than mine.
Well,
Yeah,
the reason I'm thinking about this because it's smart tags has most of the information in one place, and it seems like at least for me, once I'm there, there is a take picture button, I would be able to, let's say, the age 2024, click a picture, take a picture of 2024 as an example, and it goes right there.
yeah. I don't have this set up to take individual pictures within the tags. I don't think that would be very easy to do with the way that it's set up. I actually have the direction that I would like feedback on this. I was looking at going the opposite direction on that of potentially rather than putting this tag into this observation, be able to take the picture of the water heater, um, and then add your tag to the picture and let the picture pull out all the data and fill out all the fields.
That would be
Um,
great.
that I think that Yes, I think it would be the other direction of like you take the picture first and then you put the tag on it and have the tag pull things out. But I think that might be doable. I haven't tested it yet, but that's the direction that I'm trying to go with this of And like if you have the tag on this picture, then the observation would inherit that tag as well.
Makes
Um,
sense.
but yeah, does that kind of a different way, but that seems like it might.
I mean, that would be the best workflow where you're just taking a picture and you click on like add tag, and then especially if we got the AI part of it where it just filled it all out, basically, like then you're just kind of like taking pictures and clicking on the data tag picture to fill out the table, right?
Yep.
That'd be pretty awesome.
And it automatically interprets it correctly.
Hey, Rick's on here. Hey, Rick. Yeah, I mean
Oh yeah.
that'd be the idea is that you just I mean, I think with AI we're definitely trying to work towards a place where uh, we like the idea that on the back end we have provided every inspector with a lot of tools to really manage and curate how you want a report to look, what information you want in the report, how you want the language you want, how you know, lots of that editability. But that at the end of the day, the workflow would be a lot closer to sort of taking pictures and captioning them and having it be able to auto generate at least the portions of the report that feel less risky, you know?
Yeah, and we haven't messed with the AI part yet, but if we did something like that, I think we would have the default be where the inspector has to confirm, because it's constantly getting better, but I don't think it's perfect yet at figuring out, all that information. So I think it would be, you have to hit, yes, that is a 50-gallon water heater. No, it's not a 5,000-gallon water heater. Like, where did that come from? So personally, anything related to AI, I would want to have a human oversight on, just to make sure that it's not making up stuff to put in my report. Um, Another thing with this, you might have seen some of these. So another thing is, we have a pre-populated list of manufacturers here, and this should be turned on for this one. Um, but if you have something that's just something that's weird, the next time you go to put in this tag, which one? It's going down to the bottom. Um, and we go into water heaters here. It takes all of the things that you've entered within that report. And so if you have some really unique manufacturer and there's 15 of them, the first time you enter it, every time you go to it after that, you can enter the same thing again. And that would apply to all the fields if there's something, we can actually set it to whether it does that or not. But
If you're in the tags that table and you have to scroll through them, or is it something that you can do by alphabet? It'll pop up all the individual ones.
Which
Like
ones
if
are
you
you
have a bunch
talking
of different manufacturers, can you go all the way to, to a manufacturer, Mitsubishi, without having to scroll through?
You
They'd
can,
always be in those little buttons, basically, right?
yeah, they would be in buttons like this, whatever you put in there. But you could type in these. So all these buttons do is they take that text and they put it in the box. So you don't have to click the buttons at all. Like you could
No,
just
but say
click on
like
this
you have Navian already in there. If I just put in the manufacturer, I put N in, will it automatically pull up Navian and pull up all the ones with N?
not right now. I'll have
Okay.
to that is a good idea.
Because you
Yeah,
can have 50 water heater manufacturers.
right.
Take up your whole screen.
And so that's why I went like you would type it the first time
Yeah.
and you might if it's I would kind of keep your main ones in here as the preset buttons, but then have type if it's something weird just type it out the first time and then after that it's always going to be in there, for the remainder of that report at least. But yeah, I can look into a filter. It's
I'm
sometimes
in
stuff like
I'm in
that.
New England, and I can tell you right now, I have 50 different boiler manufacturers. So
Right.
Boilers are the worst. It's so true.
Yeah,
It's
that's a good
funny.
idea. I like that idea. I'll have to see sometimes searches like that, you have to sometimes it takes up more system resources than you'd want it to and like makes things lag, but that might be doable for something like this scale. So yeah, I'll look into that one. That's a good idea.
One of the comments, I don't think James is on here anymore. I don't think Dove's on here anymore either, but was that the reports really need to look nothing like a home inspection report. And one of the things that we've also been working on is being able to save CSS per template. So it still would look like a ScribeWare report, but in theory, there's a lot of customization we could do to try to change some of the look of the report.
Yeah, and that's I want to it because some I've heard people say, I don't want all the colors. I don't want, certain things in there. And you hear it both ways from commercial inspectors. But it is possible to have just a set of CSS that just strips out all the colors and makes it, look like it was done in a Word document. If that's the style that the lenders and everybody is looking for. So we have some different options there. I haven't built any of that out yet, but it's definitely possible.
Looks good.
Dylan, if you are shipping, I would rather have it with as much stuff in it as possible that I need to take out rather than trying to figure out how to put stuff in.
Yeah, agreed.
I know there's that, Hank. I hear you. That's kind of why I started going down a path of adding things, and then I was like, man, it's getting so busy. Like, the more things you add, it can be a little more confusing and a little less intuitive. But I hear you. That's kind of how my intention of my residential report template that people can use is that it's got everything you need in it, and you just delete what you don't want, because I do think that is easier. But it's funny, if I put too much in, it gets complicated of like, well, which things do you take out? It's not like it would take me a lot of explaining of like, well, here's one workflow for water heaters, or you can have this workflow for water heaters, you can have this workflow. And so it's just not very intuitive if I put too much in there, I think is the risk. But I appreciate the feedback. I don't disagree with you. That's sort of the dilemma I'm facing.
Well, if I may say, Dylan, when I saw you in Dallas last November, what you had built for the Texas template, and then I took and finished it out according to how I use it.
Yep.
And in those buttons that you have that are basically mimic this table setup that Tim's been working on,
Yep.
it worked. I'm gonna. It has been fantastic. I mean, it's
Nice.
been beyond what I could hope for. In that, I even had just this last week, I had a realtor go out of their way to leave me a review with the details like you would expect for an Orca review. You know,
Oh, that's awesome,
best
Rick. Good for you,
inspector
man.
ever. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
That's great.
they literally went through like five different detail things where we go out of our way to be excellent at, right?
Yep.
So, Tim, I'm really looking forward to you unlocking this so that I can port it immediately into my residential. By the way, I try to do my residential like a commercial because I'd love to be doing commercial every week, but I do, what, 50 residential for every one commercial, and
Yeah.
I'd love to increase that ratio.
But you know what's cool? You should shoot me a screenshot video, Rick. But I haven't gotten that many Texas people to dig on the buttons, and I don't understand why. Like that Texas template's so weird, and the buttons seem like they've fixed so many problems. But I got to get Dustin into a corner at the next IGO and hammering on him and make sure he. I think they're gonna be so great for Texas.
Well, yeah, I'm going to tell you, it literally took. I was having trouble with time, and I literally shaved a lot of time, just a ton of time. And we
Awesome.
can always
Great.
improve, but
Yep.
I mean, and what it is it's the detail and the appearance. And now with what Tim's doing here with the tables, it's going to clean up what the buttons can't do because it looks kind of not sloppy, but it's kind of grouped, not as clean
Yep.
as Tim's tables. Thank you.
Course. So if you guys are interested, would you mind using the submit feedback built into ScribeWare? Because that'll go to our support channel and just let us know you were on this meeting and that you'd be interested in you checking out this template. If for any reason you don't have ScribeWare installed, it's free to download it at our website. And the submit feedback button is at the bottom left on desktop, and it basically sends us a message, but it also sends logs from your computer if you were having some problems. But it's a great, like Tim and I are both on that, and so then Tim can see it. And so yeah, just use the submit feedback and let us know. Donnie, what's up? What do you got, man?
One real quick question. I'm very interested in it, but if I download it, will it change the way my guys see things at all, or?
No, you just load this
Okay, as long
template
as I
and
don't crossbreed the templates.
exactly, yeah. So your guys are on a different template, so this will be its own nation and shouldn't mess anything up.
Yeah.
And Dylan,
Yeah.
this is your CCPIA? Is this your fourth? I have your third version. Have you done a
Yeah,
lot
so
since then?
this version is number 4, so this would be a lot different, I think.
Okay, good. I haven't had a chance to use the third one yet, so maybe I never will. If I can get my hands on this fourth one, then I'll use
Hey,
that
this
instead.
is nice. Tim and Helena, thanks. They said 30-year experienced agent doing commercial said their ScribeWare commercial inspection uh uh was the best commercial inspection he'd ever seen. That's awesome. That's great, man. Thank you so much. It's good to hear. We're really trying hard here, and so it's nice to hear that. I don't know. It's a hard business. Everybody, spends most of their time beating you up for things you don't have, and they don't like the way it looks, and so it's nice to hear positive feedback. It's great. Thanks, Tim. That's awesome. And yeah, and good congrats to you for building a good commercial template out of it. I mean, commercial's tricky, it's definitely it's a hard animal. Uh, Home inspection's hard, and commercial adds a lot of complexity. But I feel like we've got some pretty cool workflows. It's probably not for everybody, but I think that this could be a really nice tool for solving some commercial report writing problems. Don't know how you guys feel, but it seems like
Oh,
Tim and
I
Helen.
really, like I said, I'm really interested, and thank you too, because I've upped my game a whole lot because of the software, and we're using this software as a great marketing tool with where we're tagging in all the extra reports. The
Yep.
agents and stuff just love that. You need to do it and be sure and be telling them because it puts you ahead of the game.
Yeah, I think it really helps you stand out, and we're going to be doing April 2nd. We have a Scribers meetup we're trying to pull together, and I'm hoping Donnie will show us his residential template, which has a lot of similar workflows, but there's some brilliant stuff in there, and his template is really fast and
Yeah,
great.
it's
Like,
all about. I don't know who was speaking earlier today, but the short and sweet. We do the short and sweet statement. Basically, it's broke. Here's a picture. Fix it.
yep. Yeah,
So
which is, I think, the way that we're really trending in the industry in general. I'm still like old school with lots of words, but
Yeah, I am too.
yeah, I'm trying to wean myself from it a bit. It is fascinating. This gets off topic here, but I think part of it around the country is we get such low fees for inspections now that we're just sort of writing punch lists rather than writing like a deep report. But I don't know. That's my own little hill to die on, but we don't get paid enough to write what we could be doing, because at least in some markets, you hear people having to do inspections for $400 or whatever, and that's just not enough money to like put the kind of detail in like that. But anyway,
All right, Bill.
anybody have any other questions? Or I think we got a lot done here. Hopefully, you guys liked what you saw, and let us know. Like I said, submit feedback, and Tim can load some templates for you, and you're welcome to play around with them, and let us know if you have questions on anything.
These training
Thanks,
sessions
Dylan.
are great. Cool.
Oh,
yeah,
awesome, Hank. Yeah.
and there's a couple things that I've seen in this version that I do want to fix before sending it out. So we'll probably might not get it back to you immediately, but as soon as we have the next beta version out, I can send a link to be able to download just that beta version without switching your whole account over to beta testing. So like Donnie, that'll be good for you because you won't have to if you switch your whole account over, your entire team gets it. But I can send you a
Yeah.
link to where you can put it just on your computer, and access everything and not have to get your team on it until, I mean, you can't use the template with your team until it's live or you put them all in the beta version, but you can at least play with it without impacting them.
And I get a
Now that's
message from
big.
Tony on here saying this. Tony, definitely, I'll try to remember you, but also if you can, use that submit feedback so we just don't forget about you, because I'd love to get this in your hands, Tony. So, and Hank, great seeing you on here, man. It's awesome. And everybody, Pete, I always love seeing Pete. Great seeing you guys. So fun meetup, and keep us posted, guys. We'll keep doing what we can, and hopefully we've got an awesome commercial solution for you guys coming up in the next month or two.
Thanks, Dylan. See you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
See you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Cool. Thank you.
Like,
Thanks, everyone.
thank you.
Thank you, guys.